Welcome to another edition of Who's in Bloom, our Patreon exclusive series where we extol the many virtues of a flower that has captivated our attention in the moment. I'm your co-host, Anjel, of the Science Witch podcast, and for this episode, I wanted to take the time to appreciate my favorite trippy rhombus flower, the Dahlia. The summer is quickly coming to an end here, and it is the time for the Dahlia to take the center stage. Ranging from nearly black to red to yellow, purple, and pink, and every color in between except blue, these flowers defy uniformity. There are thousands of cultivars, owing to this flower's popularity. Dahlias have been grown to look like anemones, poppies, and other asters, but no flower can mimic the complex geometric patterns of the pom-pom varieties in their rhombic spear configurations. They bring the end of the bloom season to a colorful and creative conclusion. Dahlias are in the giant and extremely diverse Asteraceae family and are originally from Mesoamerica. They were transported to Europe by way of the botanical garden in Mexico over 200 years ago and are now planted throughout the world. It's fairly easy to grow and transport from tubers, which makes dahlias easier to be shipped and traded. Plant the tubers in the spring to get the blooms by late summer or earlier depending on the variety. Once established, the plants will grow more vigorously and set up more blooms if they are regularly cut and spent flowers removed. At the end of the season, when the blooms are done, tubers can be dug up and separated and then stored to be planted in the spring. This will ensure the continuity of the plants and can be a fun way to share with friends. The ease of transport with the tubers, coupled with the endless variety of shapes and colors found in dahlia varieties, makes them a very popular flower for both hobbyists and horticultural enthusiasts alike. Originally, dahlias were used as a food source for indigenous people in Mesoamerica, and were even depicted in Aztec art. Their tubers can be eaten and have a bland taste somewhere between celery and the potato. The tree dahlias were used as water storage containers and were known in Nahuatl language as Acacotli or Cazazochilal. While the true black dahlias do not exist, the closest they come to is a very deep crimson red. The famed true crime case of Elizabeth Short, aka the Black Dahlia, is usually brought to mind when these flowers are mentioned. The case of Black Dahlia is one of the first true crime obsessions in America, and to this day remains unsolved. Elizabeth Short, aka the Black Dahlia, was a beautiful white woman and a hopeful actress that was brutally murdered in 1947 and whose body was dumped in an abandoned lot in Hollywood. The grisly details of her murder I will spare you, as there are plenty of true crime podcasts that delve into disturbing and lurid details about the case, but that's true crime for you. I will post some of those in the show notes for this episode if you care to go down that rabbit hole. But I will add the detail that the Black Dahlia is rumored to haunt the hallways and elevator of the famous Belmont Hotel in Los Angeles, the last place she was known to have been seen alive. In regards to magical correspondences, Dahlia is associated with the moon, occult wisdom, and making friends with our shadow side. From Tess Whitehurst's The Magic of Flowers. While many might find the idea of beauty in darkness to be disturbingly deviant, there are actually a lot of benefits to this perspective. Excitedly looking into the shadows and ascribing a delicious quality to our fears, and even our eventual death, allows us to be more psychologically complete. In other words, instead of always trying to coast along the sunshiny surface of things and desperately struggling to stay happy, we get to bravely gaze into the darkness and go deep. Dahlia knows all about this. It's perhaps no coincidence that she's the national flower of Mexico, where Dia de los Muertos holiday epitomizes the celebration of sweetness and death. Shadows and the shadow side, if you are ready to stop running from the darkness and instead face it with joy and delight, Dahlia flower essence can help. Interestingly, especially when coupled with exercise and counseling, this can help with depression and other types of mental illness by releasing and activating energy that has formerly been trapped and stagnant because of fear. Please note, however, that employing Dahlia for this purpose can sometimes cause things to temporarily seem worse before they get better. As we move into the dark time of the year and close to when we honor our ancestors, take a moment to notice Dahlia in all of her deviant beauty in the waning time of the summer. And as a bonus for our Patreon subscribers, if you listen to this episode and are interested in receiving a Dahlia tuber in the mail to plant in the springtime in your own garden, send us a message and I will send you one from the famous Swan Island Dahlia farm. I want to make sure that anyone who receives a Dahlia tuber requests it and that I can send information about planting it. The color and the shape, however, will be a fun mystery to discover this time next year. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Who's in Bloom. I'll be back next time with one more episode for this season of Who's in Bloom, closing us out with the indomitable sunflower and a prayer for peace in Ukraine. Until next time, don't forget to stop and adore the flowers.